Lost Suicide has been out for a little bit now. I first heard about this game a couple months back from a coworker of mine. He showed me a trailer of the game and we both thought the game looked pretty cool. So I got interested in the game and wanted to try it out whenever it would release. As the game was coming out, I learned that this game was actually revealed almost 10 years ago and was being developed by one person. This got the attention of a lot of people to the point that PlayStation decided to offer the developer to join the China Hero project, which would mean the game would be published by them and would provide financial assistance to make the game. That's really cool. Now that the game is finally out, players are feeling disappointed with the product that they got. The game right now is getting a lot of mixed reviews, but what do I think of the game? Well, after beating the game, can I say that the misreception is justified? Well, let's get into it. You play as Kaiser, a member of a group called Glimmer. Glimmer is trying to come up with a plan to overthrow the Empire and the Emperor and try to get people to stand up against it during a parade. The plan ends up going wrong due to the invasion of the Void Rats, and Kaiser ends up getting split up from his sister. Kaiser meets Arena, a friendly Void Rat, and must work together to stop the Void Rats from stealing human souls and save all the victims, including Kaiser's sister. Starting off with the positives for the game, and the first one I have is the combat of the game itself. This game's combat is pretty fun. The combat is inspired by games like Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, Final Fantasy 15. You have access to multiple weapon types that have their own mechanics and gimmicks, like the pole blade, for example. You're able to like throw it at enemies, and like after attacking with it for enough time, you're able to send projectiles at enemies. It's really cool. And you can switch between your weapons in battle as well, allowing for really interesting combos with those weapons. You also have Arena's powers at your disposal. This could be things like having a turret on you that shoot down enemies, or spawning a fucking firestorm that deals a lot of damage to your enemies. And like there's so many of Arena's powers, and like you can customize it to however you want, and it's really cool. You can fuse with Arena and get even more powerful. Each weapon has a skill that gives you skills for your weapons or upgrades to your character. Combat is fast paced and you will always be on your toes. It was fun fighting groups of enemies and bosses and always experimenting with different skills and combos. The last positive I have is that the game is very flashy. There were multiple moments in this game where there are badass sequences where Kaiser and Arena are like fucking enemies up, and it looks pretty cool. And the combat itself looks pretty flashy, and I think it looks pretty cool. On to the mixed elements of the game, and the first one is the story and the characters. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, the story wasn't very interesting to me personally. I'm sorry, but it was very generic and not that engaging. Most of the game's moments didn't click with me at all, and like halfway through it, I just like gave up on it. This is the same for the characters as well. Most of them are just really bland and you just forget about them. I didn't grow attached to any of these characters, honestly, and oh my fucking god, Arena does not shut the fuck up.
Show you what I'm made of? Don't embarrass me, kid. Right? Right skill. Right now. Trying to flex my muscles. We've been targeted. How do you feel about Lord Arena's power, huh?
Kaiser as a character doesn't really grow, and he doesn't really have a bond with Arena, so the dynamic feels weak. That dynamic should be the core of the game. It doesn't feel like they bond, so you kind of don't really care. But the reason this isn't a full-on negative for me personally is because I don't think the story and the characters are really the main focus of the game. I could be wrong, but I feel like the game is mainly focused on just making combat and making the fights really interesting and like really fun, and the story is kind of on the back burner, and it's kind of just like excuses to make Kaiser fight enemies. That's what I think personally. If you don't think that, I completely understand, but from what I've got out of this game, that's what I think. I wouldn't even say the story is like necessarily bad, just very forgettable and bland. The next mixed element for me is the difficulty. This game is pathetically easy. I barely died in this game at all. Most encounters like barely challenge me either. I feel like once you get like your second weapon and beyond, you become way too powerful. They don't really make bosses harder either. All they do is make their defense higher, so they just take longer to take down. That's not really making the game harder. That's really just padding the game out. The reason I'm saying it's mixed is because not every game needs to be fucking Dark Souls level hard. Hell, some of my favorite games of all time are pretty fucking easy. So if you're looking for a game to just kill time or something, this won't be too stressful. But for me, I was just a little disappointed that the game didn't challenge me all that often. And the last missed element of the game is the graphics. I don't usually bring up graphics too much in my reviews unless like the art style is like really amazing, but I have to talk about this. On one hand, the game can look really good. Some of the environments look fucking awesome, but on the other hand, it looks disgusting and horrifying. Honestly, it's most of the character models that look weird to me. Most of them just look lifeless and lack animation. They just feel stiff. The graphics kind of remind me of like an early PS4 game in some aspects. It's weird. So there's constant moments like, wow, this looks really cool, and wow, that looks fucking abysmal. Onto the negatives. The first one I have is that the game is extremely fucking repetitive. Every area is basically the same formula. You go there, you fight a bunch of people, you tell them that they've been corrupted, and repeat that like 10 times. The game doesn't try to change it up too much, so you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. So after a while, you just feel drained out of your mind. And they reuse a lot of bosses too. There was this one boss, I swear, I fought like 20 times. It was insane. And after like the 5th time, I'm like, damn, this is really boring. The next negative is the pacing. The pacing is all over the place in this game. Some areas are pretty short, and some areas are extremely fucking long and never seem to fucking end. This and the repetitiveness makes the game feel like a chore to get through. When it comes to shorter areas, it feels like it just abruptly ends and it feels rushed. By the end of the game, I was just so exhausted and I was just glad it was over. This game only took me like 20 hours to beat, but it did not feel like 20 hours. It felt more like 60. The next negative I have is the controls. Other than combat, the controls are pretty poor. There's a couple of platforming sections in the game, and these are honestly the worst moments of the game for me because Taser's jumps feel so heavy, and it's so hard to tell where this dude is gonna land that a lot of the time I would just end up messing up and have to restart. It's annoying. There was a couple moments where I lost my shit due to this, and I wanted to throw my controller at the wall. I wouldn't care about this too much if there wasn't so many platforming parts, but since there is, it's a problem for me. There's also segments where you control arena. That felt a little weird to control too. Like, not as bad as the platform, but it still felt a little bit weird. There's also these segments where you have to ride your sword, metaphor Refantazio style, and basically avoid obstacles. And I don't know, for me personally, the turning felt way too stiff, and jumping just felt off. There was like an input lag on it where like you would press the button and after like a second it would activate. Even the combat has some weird feeling to it. Aerial combat can get pretty fucking floaty a lot of the time. The last negative is that this game can unintentionally be hilarious. There's so many moments where the game is trying to be serious, but it falls flat. Oh, okay. Well, get fucked, kid.
I'm killing Kit.
It's too heavy.
Jesus Christ! Oh my god! Holy shit! He really just said, "Fuck you, bitch!" Oh my god! How romantic. My heart is a flutter. And the dialogue and voice acting can lead to so many funny moments. It's hilarious. Oh well, that looked a little weird. Admittedly, that looked kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. There were multiple times in the game where I was literally laughing due to how bad some of the direction was. It was hilarious. This has been a meme around this game that, like, yeah, the dialogue and the voice acting is pretty fucking bad. Hell, for some people, this might not even be a negative. This might just be a so bad it's good thing. Overall, I think UltimaSora does deserve the mixed reception that it is getting. Yeah, the gameplay can be good, but if everything else is mid or, like, just downright horrible, it's hard to, like, stay invested and it's hard to defend the game. The only reason I finished this was just for review obligations, and that sucks because like it was cool hearing about the developer's story. At one point he was the only person working on it, and like eventually he got a crew to help him along with his passion. That's awesome, but like most of this game just doesn't stand out and it's extremely forgettable. I would only recommend this if you are extremely bored and want something that has pretty decent combat and like to just play for a week and you just don't care for the story. I would definitely wait for a price drop if you are interested in this, because this game is 100% not worth the $60. For all those reasons, I'm gonna give Lost Suicide a 5.85 out of 10. That's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. What do you guys think of Lost Suicide? Did you enjoy it? Or are you like most people who think the game is just kind of mid? Or do you just despise this game? Also, were you waiting for this game since it revealed like almost 10 years ago? Or did you like just find out about it? Let me know down in the comments down below. I did stream this entire game live on YouTube. So if you are interested in that, all the VODs will be on the channel. If you like game reviews, live playthroughs, or like any kind of like gaming content, you're gonna want to subscribe because I try to do that all the time on the channel. But with that, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.